Here on GoPSUSports.com with wrestling head coach Cael Sanderson. Coach, last time I think we were together talking, it was in St. Louis, coming off of a spectacular evening, but that's in the past now. I'm curious, what was the off-season like, and what's the level of energy like right now in the room?
Well, I think the energy level is high. The kids love to compete, and there's just a special bond, I would say, with this group. But we'll find out once the season gets going, you know, when we start competing, and we'll see if that energy stays high. I think it will, but I'm excited to find out.
I should have used off-season a little bit lighter as a term. You know, some of the guys only taking a few weeks off and then getting right back at it, you know, especially you know, spending some time on the USA national circuit. What's the benefit of international competition? Yeah,
most of our guys, you know, we want them to take time off here and there during the summer, right? I mean, the goal is to be at your best and rested mentally, physically, ready to roll in March, right? So you have to have a plan. Each individual's on a little different schedule, but you need to compete and you need to train, and our guys are training year round. And we had multiple guys compete in the World Team Trials, and you know, Zane made the team this year and got some great experience training with, you know, Team USA there. And, you know, Nolf was on the national team. You know, David Taylor, a former wrestler, is on the national team. So a lot of our alumni are doing well. Mark Hall won the Junior World Championships again. Great experience for him overseas. But that's just part of the process. You know, we're recruiting kids that want to be world and Olympic champions. And when they're in college, that takes place in the off season. And so you have to really be focused and continue to work throughout the year.
What did you see from someone like Zane and having that experience? When we caught up with him this summer, he really talked about how much it meant to him to be able to be a part of that U.S. senior team.
Well, it's a big step. It's very competitive, right? It's the next level of the NCAA wrestling, and a lot of NCAA wrestling champions don't ever make, you know, a world team. So because all the different generations collide, and you have multiple NCAA champions competing for a spot. So it was great for him to see. He had a real competitive matches with you know, Hall of Fame, well, to be one day, you know, Frank Molinaro, who just had a couple incredible years also. But yeah, so it was just it's the next level up, and if you want to be an Olympic champion, right, you gotta look past the NCAA tournament and that level of competitiveness and look beyond.
And then jumping into this year, you know, I feel like, you know, consistency has always been something so signature to these Penn State wrestling teams. But how do you kind of approach goal setting and consistency, especially kind of handling expectations, even some that might come from the outside?
Well, I think the kids just have to have a clear purpose and clear focus on what they want, right? Because, you know, there's always going to be distractions, people, whether it's media or wherever, you know, or, you know, kids, your mind can take care of that on its own, you know, try to distract you from you know, whether it's negative thoughts or doubts. So it's just important to make sure that they're clear on what they want and that they focus on that as opposed to what they don't want, or because you tend to get what you focus on, right? So it's a lot of it's just reminding them and helping them to stay focused on their goals, right? It's their goals. You know, if they don't have those goals, there's not a lot we can do for them. You know, we can't talk them into wanting to be the best or wanting or being willing to make the commitment or the sacrifices. Obviously, that's something they have to bring to the table.
And, you know, when you think about your lineup, you know, All-Americans, 5 individual national champions, you know, what's most exciting to you right now when you think about your lineup?
Just the potential, right? I think this team has a lot of potential to be a great team, and that's exciting. I think we'll find out once the season gets going, but, you know, our plan is always I guess start strong, finish stronger kind of a deal. And I think that that challenge is always exciting, right? Regardless of where we're at right now, we want to be better in a few months, and you know, that makes everything, I guess, that much more exciting, right? We're not trying to protect anything, or, you know, last year was great, but, you know, that was last year, and you know, every year brings its own set of challenges and obstacles, and that's where you find out what you really want.
How about, you know, maybe some individuals or weight classes where you're really looking for growth and development?
All weight classes, right? I think all weight classes, you know, nobody's where they want to be yet. Even a guy like Zane, he wants to be a world and Olympic champion. He's still on the hunt there. We had young guys winning last year, Vincenzo and Mark Hall. You know, we're looking for them to improve. The results aren't necessarily the best indicator. It's more of the way they compete and their technique and their attitude. So we're looking for progress, just at all weight classes. And we'll have some new faces in the lineup this year, which is always fun for everybody.
Thinking about where some of those new faces might come. You welcome some freshmen, some transfers as well. How have you kind of handled their transition, and how have you seen them handle their transition from high school to college?
Well, we'll find that out once the season starts, I guess. But yeah, we have a nice class of true freshmen in here training, and some redshirt freshmen. Some that are competing for spots, and I think we have one transfer who's a great kid, Corey Keener, who has goals and was very successful at Central Michigan, and graduated there and had the opportunity to transfer here. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see how they end up doing. But a lot of great kids, and really have a special team just as far as just the focus and the they care about each other, and they care about Penn State. And when you have the right focus, you're obviously going to do better as an individual. But it makes it a lot of fun to coach them.
And then looking at the season a little bit more, 8 home duels here, in Happy Valley. We obviously see the tremendous impact and help that it can be competing at home. But I'm curious, from your perspective, what type of impact does that have?
Well, we like to compete at home. This is in our own house with our own fans, and we want to bring as much wrestling to State College as we possibly can. Having 8 is unusual. That's tough. I mean, it's usually tough to have 7 home matches, but Coach Cody does a pretty darn good job of figuring that out, and so we're excited about. And we have some great home matches this year. Last year we had some of our tougher dual meets were on the road, which that's a challenge in itself, and it just brings a little bit different dynamic to the season. And but it's both fun. There's a challenge of competing at home, and there's a challenge of competing on the road, and you have to love both sets, I guess.
And then finally, Penn State, getting ready to welcome a few former Nittany Lions back in Ed Ruth and Phil Davis. Have you heard from them, seen from them? I'm sure they've stopped by, but what has that experience been like?
Yeah, Ed was in the wrestling room this morning. He's getting his weight down, and yeah, it was great to see Ed. He hasn't been in the room, since he launched his MMA career, I don't think. So he comes into the room and he sees his face all over the place, and we've sent him pictures, and but yeah, it's great to see Ed. I mean, he'll always be one of my all-time favorites. I just really enjoyed him as a person, just a huge heart, great team player. We still have some of his quotes up in our locker room about the team just aspect of the sport, and just a good guy. So yeah, and his goal was always MMA.
Yeah.
He always wanted to be a UFC champion and all that good stuff, and it looks like he's well on his way.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to catching up with you this season.
Yeah, thank you.